Hey everyone, welcome to Sugar-Free Self-Care TV. And if you are a woman who is really trying to lose weight and you've tried all the things like working out, you've tried to go on weight loss programs, you tried working with nutritionists, but no matter what you do, it seems like that chocolate at the end of the day is irresistible. Chances are you may not be paying attention to one important thing that may be causing sugar cravings and causing you to gain weight. And that one thing is stress, more specifically cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone that's released when you are in a fight or flight response, and you'll know exactly why this hormone is so key to weight loss and why you might be struggling with your weight loss and wellness goals and sugar craving, all because of this one hormone. So stick around till the end of this video to learn what cortisol is and how to manage it well so you can finally overcome your sugar cravings and lose weight permanently. Alright, so chances are you might have heard along the grapevine that if you're trying to lose weight, some people might say online, or you might hear fitness or health experts say that stress can lead to weight gain. But have you ever wondered how that actually works and what that means? Well, I'm gonna break it down to you in this video. So when people say that you could get weight gain or belly fat from stress, they're talking more specifically about cortisol, the stress hormone. So cortisol is a hormone that's released when you are feeling stressed in whatever way. And so many things trigger our stress. It could be as easy as just trying to buy something from the grocery store or trying to get something finished for a work day. We're always in stress. And so stress is normal. Stress is actually good. It helps us to get things done. It helps us to take action. But the only time that stress can be problematic is when the stress response we have in our body goes on too long. And that is where we start to get issues with our weight and also our health. So I'm gonna break down how that works. So the way the stress response works is that when anytime you perceive a threat that's going on in the environment, whether it's a real physical threat or not, like a psychological threat, that's when you are going to trigger your body's stress response. This is also more commonly known as the fight or flight response. All right, so when you have this fight or flight response, your body will release cortisol from the adrenal glands. So the adrenal glands will release cortisol into your bloodstream. Now what cortisol does is that it will prepare you to take action, whether it's fighting, fleeing, or freezing. So what that means is your cortisol is helping you get more energy, and it will actually physiologically change your body so that you do have more energy to either fight a predator, to flee and escape from something dangerous, or to freeze or quote unquote play dead, which is all like evolutionary strategies to survive. So we have this fight or flight response that was helpful for us back in the caveman times, back in the day where a lot of physical threats were around, like saber-toothed tigers and just trying to find food. Like we needed a really strong stress response to take action. The only problem is in this modern day society, we have a lot of non-physical threats that still stress us out. So even though we're not in physical danger, a lot of other things can still activate our fight or flight response, especially if you're working in your business, you have a stressful job. A lot of things, especially in business, are unpredictable. And so there's a lot of perceived threats that we have that will cause us to go into a fight or flight mode. Like things like not knowing where our next client will come from, wondering about money, how we're gonna pay our bills, even something like as benign as waiting in line in Starbucks for your coffee. So a lot of these things can create stress for us even if they're not a physical threat. And so when the fight or flight response is activated, several things are happening in our body. Our blood pressure is going up, our heart rate's going up, our pupils are dilated, and we're also having tension in our bodies because having tension can help protect your body. Like if you're tense, it kind of can help you protect your body, sort of like in a fetal position. That's a way of protecting yourself from danger. It also causes you to release blood sugar. It causes you to release glucose into your bloodstream so that you have sugar available, you have energy to run, you have energy to fight. And so, as you can imagine, if you have a lot of sugar going on, floating around in your bloodstream, it's helpful in the meantime when you need quick energy, but over time, if you have too much sugar in your bloodstream, this is where it could lead to health issues and weight gain. So if you have too much blood sugar being released in your bloodstream over time, what's supposed to happen is you have a hormone called insulin, and insulin's job is to bring sugar into your fat cells so that you don't have too much sugar floating around in your bloodstream, which could be fatal. However, if there's too much sugar, over time, your insulin hormone isn't working properly. It doesn't work as well to tell the cells, hey, we have sugar all in our bloodstream, we need to store the sugar away. So your cells in your body actually don't start to work as well with insulin. It starts to be desensitized when insulin's around, and so this causes you to have a lot of sugar in your bloodstream. When you have a lot of sugar in your bloodstream, your body doesn't realize that you don't need the sugar. It doesn't realize that the insulin's not working properly. So when you have too much sugar in your bloodstream, you get hungrier because the body thinks that the sugar isn't yet in our cells. And so at this point, your body's going hungrier, it's craving more sugar, and then your insulin isn't working properly. So you're not getting enough sugar into your cells, but you're getting hungrier and hungrier. Over time, this leads to weight gain, especially when you have high cortisol. This leads to more belly fat, and it also, over time, causes decreased metabolism because your body's trying to conserve energy when it's stressed, when it's in survival mode. It also causes you to not digest your food very well, because if you're in fight or flight, like if you're in a survival mode and you're running away from a saber-toothed tiger, that is not the time to digest your food. You are there to run, and so your body is releasing more sugar into your bloodstream so you have energy to run. All right, so over time, as you can imagine, with a slower metabolism, with decreased digestion, with more belly fat, with more cortisol, and also with your blood pressure constantly being up, your heart rate constantly being up, this all leads to health issues and weight gain that's related to increased cortisol. So this is something that may be blocking you from your weight loss that you're desiring, or from overcoming sugar cravings, even if you've done everything. Even if you've worked with a nutritionist, you're working out all the time, you're doing all the things, quote unquote, all the correct things that you need to do for weight loss, and you're still blocked, it could be because your cortisol is not under control. So the question becomes, what do you do? How do you solve this? How do you start to decrease your cortisol levels? So if you want to decrease your cortisol levels, you have to know, first of all, how to handle the stress response when it happens. You have to notice and recognize when you are in a fight or flight response and what that looks like in your body. So first, I would invite you to just pay attention, to just notice when you are having an increased heart rate, when you're starting to breathe faster, or if your breathing is shallow. A lot of the times you'll know you're in a fight or flight response because your breathing is constricted or shallow in some way. This especially happens when you are eating, especially if you're in a social situation or if you're in a buffet, and as you're eating, just notice that you may be holding your breath. Like, notice the next time when you're eating, are you actually breathing in between bites, or are you noticing that you're holding your breath when you're eating? The first thing I always like to tell my clients when I start to work with them as a somatic nutrition coach, and somatic means relating to the body, the first thing I tell them is that you want to be in tune with your breath when you're eating. Because if you're holding your breath, like I said, it not only means that you're in a stress response, like a fight or flight response, it also continues to reinforce the fight or flight response. Because if you're holding your breath, that is a tense and stressful state on your body. Imagine like holding your breath. Like if you hold your breath right now, it feels really uncomfortable. It feels tense. And so it will trigger and reinforce your fight or flight response even more. So if you want to start decreasing cortisol, a really quick way to do it, and to also release any sugar cravings and to start to improve your digestion, improve your metabolism, is to just enhance your breathing and to take deep breaths when you're eating. I always recommend to my clients to try to take 2 breaths before you have your first bite in your meal. And then when you take your meal bites, when you start to eat, take a deep breath in between bites. Put the fork and the spoon down on the table and take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the nose. And when you're breathing in between bites, this will signal to your body that you are safe. In fact, breathing deeply is going to activate the part of your nervous system that triggers your rest and digest system, which is the parasympathetic nervous system. It's your relaxation response. And when you take a deep breath, that's the fastest way to activate that parasympathetic nervous system response, or that relaxation response. When you do that, you won't be in emergency mode, you won't need to be in fight or flight, and your cortisol levels will go down. And when cortisol goes down, your cravings go down because your body isn't needing energy to fight, flee, or freeze. You're also going to feel fuller because you'll be more in tune with your body. Like, you're going to be able to notice your body's true fullness signals because you're not in fight or flight. And you'll also be able to increase your metabolism because you're going to be in a restful state. And so you're going to be able to relax that part of your body that keeps creating and releasing glucose. And so you're going to help your metabolism out. So this is honestly the best thing you could do for your weight loss. Not just your weight loss, but your whole entire life and your health. If especially you're a woman entrepreneur who has so much to do in her day, and you're constantly bombarded with all these tasks that you need to do, and you're constantly thinking about the next thing and the next thing, just notice what that stressful state does to you physically, emotionally, mentally. Notice how it feels like in your body when you're in that stress response, when you're activating what we call the sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight response. It oftentimes probably never feels good. It's like your heart's beating fast, you feel constantly tense, you feel pressure. And I don't know about you, but whenever my clients and myself are in a pressured state, we never produce high quality work. We tend to create content from a place of scarcity and urgency. And whenever you create from that space, it tends to create posts that seem a little bit more graspy or a little bit more needy, versus if you are reading the post of a coach or entrepreneur online who seems really grounded, they seem really centered, they seem really present, then it seems a lot more inviting. It seems a lot more approachable. It seems like that person is a lot more warm and friendly. So you'll probably want to work with them even more versus working with a coach who seems constantly heightened, constantly on edge, and they're just constantly like under pressure. People can feel that from you, and it may be repelling sales. It may be repelling business from you. And so I invite you today to just start noticing all those moments when you're stressed. To just notice in your body, when are the times that I notice that my heart rate is going up? Where are the times I notice that my breathing is shallow? Where are the times I notice I'm starting to sweat? Like for me, I sweat very easily, and I notice that I start to sweat in my armpits a lot. So just notice like when your muscles are tense, like do you start feeling tension in your shoulders, in your neck? Because that's where I hold it all the time. And if you're noticing that, that's a great time to just start slowing down, to start taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And when you start there, and when you just take a few seconds to be present, it could start to decrease that fight or flight response, decrease that cortisol, and tell that part of your brain that activates the fight or flight response that you are safe and that there is no danger. And from that place, weight loss and sugar cravings will be a lot easier to manage. All right, and so a lot of you may be asking and wondering, well, how does deep breathing look like? What kind of techniques should I do to start helping me be in this relaxed state? Because I don't know how to do that. Like, I want a way, like a specific practice to do that. And so this is something that we're not taught, right? Nobody ever teaches us about how to manage our cortisol, how to manage our stress in effective ways and practical ways. And so I found that that was lacking so much in the internet space and just in my life. Like, people don't teach you how to breathe properly. They don't teach you these mind-body techniques that will help you inform your body that you're safe. Because the truth about the stress response is that it's a physiologic response in your body. It's a body response, not just in the brain, but also the body. And so if you want to decrease that stress response, you can't just tell yourself, I'm safe, I'm calm, everything's fine. It's like, you won't be able to do that because your body is in a tense state. You have tense muscles. Your heart rate's beating fast. You have to know how to actually calm the body and the nervous system down. And this is why I wish I had that tool. Like, I wish I knew all those things when I was in this state of stress, especially when I was a nurse, and when especially in times in my business where I feel really stressed. I didn't have these tools all the time. But now I know exactly what to do, and this is why I created something called Self-Care School. So Self-Care School is my brand new membership program, and it is the best virtual resource out there that could help you learn how to regulate your nervous system, how to decrease your cortisol levels, and how to put your body in a calm, relaxed state so that you're not feeling so activated or triggered by all these stressors in your business or just in your personal life. When you learn how to not be triggered by the circumstances around you and how not to react to those triggers in a stressful state, you will have control over your health, your weight, your life in a way that will make you feel unstoppable. So I created Self-Care School as a way for you to have all these tools, these mind, body, somatic tools that have helped me in my journey, and I continue to do every single day because it's made such a difference in my life, and it's exactly what I want to share with all of you, especially if you are a busy professional woman or woman entrepreneur who has so many things she wants to do in her business and is doing well in her business, and yet your health and your eating habits just seem out of control. So these habits and these tools in Self-Care School will help you learn how to be centered, how to be grounded in a way that keeps you connected to your body and doesn't leave you constantly wondering, what the heck is wrong with me? Why can't I stop craving sugar right now? So if you're interested in joining Self-Care School, and if this is speaking to you and you want to learn the exact techniques that I use for myself and my clients to help women everywhere stop craving sugar and start losing weight permanently, I invite you to join Self-Care School by clicking the link in the description box below, and that is your first step to learning how to finally get freedom from sugar and start feeling better in your body right now. So that's my invitation to y'all to join Self-Care School, and I hope this video gave a good overview that, first of all, it's not your fault if the weight and if the cravings are a struggle for you right now. It's just a lack of knowledge. It's just that you didn't know these things. You didn't know that cortisol is in your way. You didn't know how to manage cortisol effectively, and that's why I created Self-Care School, to help you bridge that gap and help you overcome those struggles. All right, everyone, so if you love this video, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you and see what you thought. And I'd love to also know if you'd like to see more videos just like this. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to this video so you could find out when all my new videos are coming out, and you could also get notified by clicking the bell so that you see when my next videos come out. Alright everybody, thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.